There's a moment in life when your soul wakes up. When you finally see the game for what it is. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Not everyone who speaks softly has good intentions. Some people are not in your life to love you. They're here to use you. They study you. They watch the way you respond, the way you care, the way you forgive. And in their mind, they're taking notes. Notes on where the cracks are. Notes on what buttons to push. Notes on how far they can go before you break. It's not always loud. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's in the little ways. The guilt trips that make you second guess yourself. The innocent jokes that cut a little too deep. The way they make you feel like you owe them just for being there. Manipulation doesn't always come in the form of screaming or threats. No. The most dangerous manipulation is quiet, patient, and calculated. It comes from people who know how to make you question your own reality until you start wondering if you're the problem. And here's the hard truth. If you're not prepared, if you're not built from the inside out, they will find a way to get inside your head. They will twist your kindness into chains and your trust into a weapon. That's how manipulators operate. They don't attack your strength, they attack your soft spots because they know one thing. It's not the walls that fall first, it's the cracks that spread until the whole thing comes down. But there's another truth, and this is the one that changes everything. You don't have to be their prey. You don't have to be the one they can push, pull, and bend until you break. You can be the one they can't move. You can be the person whose mind and spirit are untouchable. Because strength is not about being hard on the outside. It's about being solid at the core. It's about being so rooted in who you are and so clear about what you stand for that no matter what game they play, you don't even flinch. That's why I'm here today, to give you the blueprint, to lay out the rules that turn ordinary people into unbreakable forces. These are not tricks. These are not fake confidence tactics. These are the habits and principles that rewire your mind, fortify your heart, and protect your soul from those who see your kindness as weakness. They'll still try. They'll still come for you, but the difference is they'll find no entry point, no weakness to pull on, no crack to exploit. You have to understand, the world is not short of manipulators. They live in families. They sit in offices. They hide in friendships. They even stand in pulpits. And the reason they succeed is because too many people walk around without armor, open-hearted but unguarded, generous but without boundaries, trusting but without discernment. This speech is your armor. It's the voice that tells you it's okay to love people, but it's not okay to let them control you. It's okay to care, but it's not okay to lose yourself in the process. By the time you hear everything I'm about to share, you will no longer walk into the world as an easy target. You will carry yourself with a different energy, the kind that makes manipulators keep their distance. You'll have the strength to stand without explaining, the wisdom to see past their words, and the courage to walk away without regret. And when they realize they can't play their games with you anymore, they'll move on, because manipulators don't waste time on the unbreakable. Today, I'm giving you 7 rules that make you unbreakable. Number 1. Control your emotions. Never let them see you react. Your greatest weapon against manipulation is not sharper words, not louder volume, not even a stronger physical presence. It's emotional control. People who manipulate the weak thrive on reactions. They push a button and watch you explode. And in that moment, they own you. They've learned exactly where your triggers are, and they'll press them again and again to guide your decisions, to make you doubt yourself, to keep you dancing to their rhythm. When you control your emotions, you take away their favorite tool. You stop being predictable. You stop being the easy read in the room. This doesn't mean you bury your feelings or pretend to be made of stone. It means you process them without handing them over like free ammunition. You can feel anger without slamming the door. You can feel hurt without giving them the satisfaction of seeing tears. The less they know about your emotional landscape, the harder it is for them to navigate it. Think of it as holding your cards close to your chest. The game changes when they can't see what you're holding. Emotional control is not about denial. It's about discipline. People confuse the two because they think being real means letting everything pour out. But the truth is, unfiltered emotions are often a trap you set for yourself. When you blurt out your thoughts in anger or frustration, you are revealing your inner blueprint to the very people who might exploit it. Manipulators don't need all the details. They just need one leak in your armor to get inside. By learning to pause before you speak, to breathe before you respond, you create a gap, a space where you regain your power. That small space is where wisdom grows. you start to see that most provocations aren't worth reacting to. You understand that the one who can stay calm when the room is on fire is the one who walks out with the upper hand. And the beauty is, this control doesn't just protect you from manipulators, it protects you from your own impulses. Think about the last time you let anger, jealousy, or fear control you. Did it end well? Most of the time, those moments leave you with regret, because emotions are powerful but not always truthful in the moment. Manipulators know this and they use it. They'll feed you half the story, twist facts, or whisper lies just to provoke a quick emotional reaction before you've had time to think. This is how they trap you into decisions that serve them, not you. But when you master emotional control, you refuse to be rushed. You stop letting urgency dictate your choices. You give yourself time to see through the fog before making a move. That's when their tricks start failing. They'll push and push, waiting for that explosive response, but when you give them nothing, they're left swinging at air. Silence in the face of manipulation can be louder than 1,000 angry words. Some people think staying calm means you're weak or that you don't care. That's a misunderstanding often spread by those who are uncomfortable with their own lack of control. True strength is in the ability to remain grounded when the world around you is shaking. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you don't owe anyone your energy. When someone insults you, your reaction is the reward they're after. Take away the reward and most manipulators lose interest. They're hunters looking for prey that panics. If you're not panicking, you're no longer interesting to them. Your emotional stillness becomes a wall they can't climb. And when they realize they can't get in your head, they'll either back off or reveal themselves fully, which gives you the clarity to decide how to deal with them. It's important to understand that controlling your emotions is not about suppressing your humanity. It's about choosing the time and place for expression so it serves you instead of sabotaging you. Expressing emotions in a safe space with people you trust is healthy. Reacting impulsively in front of manipulators is dangerous. Emotional control is like steering a powerful car. You don't take your hands off the wheel just because the road got bumpy. You keep steering, even when you're tempted to swerve. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature. You stop feeling the urge to instantly react to provocation. You realize that not every battle needs to be fought, and that sometimes the greatest victory is walking away without a single scratch, while they stand there wondering how they lost control of you. Mastering emotional control is a lifelong practice, but its rewards are immediate. You begin to notice how differently people treat you when they can't get under your skin. You start attracting respect instead of pity, authority instead of exploitation. Manipulators may still try their games, but you'll see them coming from miles away, and you'll meet them with a calm that unnerves them. Your stillness becomes your shield. Your restraint becomes your sword, and your refusal to react becomes the loudest statement you'll ever make: you can't touch me. That's when you stop just surviving manipulation and start defeating it entirely. Number 2. Set boundaries that cannot be negotiated. Boundaries are not walls to keep the world out. They are doors that you choose when to open and close. Without boundaries, you become a playground for manipulators. They'll test how far they can push you, how much of your time, energy, and dignity they can take before you push back. And if you've never drawn the line, you'll find yourself giving more than you can afford, and they'll still come back for more. And they'll still come back for more. A boundary is not just a statement, it's a commitment to yourself. It's you saying, I value my peace, my time, my life, and I will protect it. Once you set that line, you must be willing to stand behind it, even if it costs you certain relationships. Because if a relationship only survives by you lowering your boundaries, it's not a healthy relationship. The ones who truly respect you won't be offended when you protect yourself. They'll appreciate it, because it means you also respect them enough to expect the same in return. The danger is when you treat boundaries like suggestions instead of rules. Manipulators sense hesitation like sharks smell blood in water. The moment you say no, but then give in, you've taught them your limits are flexible. And once they know your limits are flexible, they will stretch them until you break. Setting a boundary is only half the battle. Enforcing it is where your real strength shows. That means no justifying, no long explanations, and no apologizing for protecting yourself. You don't need to convince someone why your boundary exists. It's not up for debate. If someone pushes back when you draw the line, that pushback is the proof you needed that the boundary was necessary in the first place. The more consistent you are, the faster manipulators realize you're not an easy target. They'll either learn to deal with you on your terms or walk away entirely. Both outcomes protect you. Boundaries also teach you about yourself. Every time you say no to something that violates your values or drains your energy, you are saying yes to the life you want to live. Manipulators will try to guilt you into thinking boundaries are selfish, but the truth is, boundaries are the most selfless thing you can do, because when you protect your mental and emotional health, you have more strength to give to the right people and the right purposes. You stop pouring yourself into bottomless pits that never give back. You start investing in relationships where mutual respect is the currency. And over time, you begin to see a shift. Your life fills with people who appreciate your yes because they know it means something, not because it's automatic. That is the power of a boundary. It filters out the noise so you can hear what really matters. Enforcing boundaries will make some people angry. They'll call you cold, distant, or selfish. But those are often the people who are benefiting from your lack of boundaries. Understand this. If someone walks away because you stopped letting them take advantage of you, you didn't lose them. You freed yourself. Boundaries act like a mirror, showing people exactly where they stand in your life. The ones who belong will respect the lines you've drawn. The ones who don't belong will try to erase them. Either way, boundaries reveal the truth, and truth is a gift, even when it stings. You cannot be unbreakable if you allow others to dictate how far you will go or how much of yourself you will give. You must decide those limits for yourself, and once you do, you must guard them like treasure. There's just so much guard about this. And so I thought one of the most important lessons about boundaries is that they're not just for others, they're for you. You must hold yourself accountable to the standards you set. If you decide your time is valuable, then you can't keep giving it away to meaningless distractions. If you decide your energy is precious, you can't keep pouring it into people who drain you. The moment you violate your own boundaries, you send a message that they're optional, and manipulators will use that against you. Boundaries are only as strong as your commitment to uphold them. And every time you do, your self-respect grows. You start to see that protecting your space isn't rude. It's necessary for survival in a world where not everyone has your best interest at heart. Boundaries will test you. They will force you to have uncomfortable conversations, to walk away from certain people, to endure the silence that comes after you've refused to bend. But that silence is not emptiness. It's space. Space for peace, for clarity, for relationships built on respect instead of control. And when you live with boundaries that cannot be negotiated, you walk through life differently. Your head is higher, your step is steadier, and your energy is yours to give, not theirs to take. This is how manipulators lose their power over you. They can push, they can prod, but they cannot cross the line you've drawn in stone. And in that moment, you stop being someone they can use, and you become someone they have to respect, whether they want to or not. Number 3, master the art of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is not a lack of intelligence or courage. Silence is a weapon, sharp, precise, and impossible to predict. Manipulators thrive on your words. They want your explanations, your justifications, your emotional outbursts, because every word you give them is a thread they can pull. But when you stay silent, they're left with nothing to work with. They can't twist what you didn't say. They can't use a confession you never gave. They can't build an argument from air. The moment you master the art of silence, you take away their favorite battlefield. You shift the power, because suddenly they're the ones scrambling to fill the space. And in that space, you keep your thoughts, your strategies, and your peace to yourself. Silence makes them wonder what you're thinking, and that uncertainty is power. Silence does not mean you let people walk over you. It means you've learned that not every battle requires words. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is to say nothing at all. Manipulators feed off reactions, and silence starves them. They'll ask a question in a way that's designed to provoke you. They'll make a comment that's meant to bait you into defending yourself. But when you respond with stillness, you deny them the satisfaction of controlling your emotional state. It's not easy at first, because the urge to speak, to correct the lie, to explain your side can feel overwhelming. But the longer you practice, the more you realize that silence often wins arguments without ever engaging in them. In silence, you preserve your dignity and force them to reveal themselves through their own behavior. Silence also buys you time. Time to think, time to evaluate, time to see the bigger picture. In the heat of conflict, the first words that come to mind are rarely the wisest. They're often reactive, emotional, and exactly what manipulators are fishing for. By holding your tongue, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You get to ask yourself, is this worth my voice? Is this worth my peace? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And in that moment, you'll feel a strange kind of freedom. You're no longer caught in the trap of speaking just to fill the air. You speak with purpose, and only when it serves you. This is how you keep your conversations intentional instead of impulsive. The art of silence also protects your plans. Not everyone around you deserves to know your dreams, your struggles, or your next move. Some people will use that information against you. Others will secretly root for your failure while pretending to support you. By keeping certain things to yourself, you create a safe space where your goals can grow without interference. Silence is a form of self-respect. It says, I know the value of my words and I choose where to spend them. Here, manipulators can't attack what they don't know exists. And when they realize they can't access your thoughts, they lose their grip. Of course, silence will make some people uncomfortable, especially manipulators. They'll accuse you of being distant, cold, or arrogant. They'll try to provoke you just to get you talking again, but understand this, their discomfort is proof that your silence is working. Manipulators thrive when you over-explain, overshare, and overreact. When you stop giving them that energy, they feel powerless. They may push harder at first, but eventually most will retreat because they can't win a game you refuse to play. That's the beauty of silence. It removes you from their arena without lifting a finger. Over time, mastering the art of silence changes not just how manipulators treat you, but how you see yourself. You become more observant, more strategic, more selective about where your energy goes. You start to notice things you would have missed if you were too busy talking. You realize that silence is not empty. It's full of strength, control, and clarity. You learn that you don't have to respond to every comment, every accusation, or every attempt to draw you in. Sometimes the most powerful position you can take is to stand still, say nothing, and let them wonder what's on your mind. Because the truth is, the less they know, the less they can control. And that's when you truly become unbreakable. Number 4, learn to walk away without explaining. Walking away is one of the most underestimated forms of power. People think strength is in fighting every battle, proving every point, or making sure everyone understands your side. But the truth is, manipulators don't care about understanding you. They care about controlling you. They thrive when you feel the need to explain yourself because every explanation is another doorway into your mind. When you learn to walk away without explaining, you slam that door shut. You send a clear message. My peace is worth more than your approval. This is not about arrogance or pride. It's about valuing yourself enough to know you don't owe anyone a justification for protecting your well-being. Some people will never accept your truth, no matter how much you explain. So why waste your breath? The urge to explain often comes from a need to be understood or validated. It's human to want people to see your intentions, to know you meant well, to agree with your choices. But manipulators twist that need into a trap. They'll pretend to just want to understand when really they're gathering ammunition to use against you. Every reason you give becomes a point they can attack. Every detail you share becomes a tool for guilt, shame, or doubt. But when you leave without explanation, you take all that power away. They're left with questions they can't answer. And that uncertainty eats away at their control. You're no longer playing their game. You've left the table entirely. Walking away without explaining requires a shift in mindset. You must stop believing that silence means defeat. It doesn't. Silence and exit can be the most decisive victory you'll ever make. You're not losing the argument. You're refusing to participate in one that serves no purpose. You're not giving them the last word. You're giving yourself the last move. And the last move is walking away. This isn't about avoiding responsibility. It's about refusing to waste your energy where it won't make a difference. Manipulators count on your desire to clear things up. They know that as long as you're talking, they still have you hooked. But the moment you leave without a word, they lose their audience. And without an audience, their performance means nothing. This skill also protects you from emotional exhaustion. Explaining yourself over and over is draining, especially to people who have no intention of hearing you. It becomes a cycle. You explain, they twist, you explain again, they twist again, and on it goes. Eventually, you're worn out, frustrated, and doubting yourself. But when you cut that cycle by simply walking away, you preserve your mental strength. You're no longer stuck in endless debates or toxic back and forths. You're using your energy for growth, for peace, for building a life that doesn't revolve around convincing others you're right. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes to leave without guilt. You start to see that your worth is not measured by how well you explain yourself to people who have already decided not to listen. Of course, walking away will confuse and frustrate manipulators. They will try to pull you back in with accusations. You're running away from the truth. You're too scared to talk. You don't care about this relationship. But these are just bait. They know your instinct is to defend yourself, to say that's not true. The moment you take that bait, they've got you talking again, and the cycle starts over. The strength is in resisting the bait. You don't have to respond. You don't have to prove anything. Your actions speak for you, and your absence says more than any words could. When you leave without explaining, you take the script out of their hands. And without a script, their performance ends. Walking away without explaining is an act of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I don't need your permission to move forward. It's the understanding that not everyone deserves an answer, not every attack needs a counterattack, and not every situation requires closure. Sometimes the healthiest closure is the door closing behind you as you walk away. You create space for healing, for clarity, for relationships that don't require you to constantly defend yourself. And in that space, you find a kind of freedom that explanation could never give you. Freedom from their control, freedom from their games, freedom from the need to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. That's when you stop reacting to manipulation and start living above it entirely. Number 5, trust actions, not words. Words are easy. They cost nothing. They leave no scars on the tongue, and they can be molded into whatever shape someone needs to get what they want. That's why manipulators love them. Words are their currency. They promise change. They speak of loyalty. They say they care, but none of it costs them anything. Actions, though, actions cost effort. Actions reveal truth. If someone's actions don't match their words, you don't have to call them a liar. Reality will do it for you. Learning to trust actions over words is like learning to see in the dark. It strips away illusions and lets you read the truth in ways most people miss. The ones who mean what they say will show it. The ones who don't will eventually expose themselves without you lifting a finger. Manipulators count on your willingness to take words at face value. They'll tell you exactly what you want to hear to lower your guard. I'd never hurt you, they'll say, right before they do. I've changed, they'll claim, even though nothing in their behavior reflects it. When you start judging people by actions instead of promises, you become immune to this tactic. It's not about being cynical. It's about being observant. You stop getting caught up in how sweet or convincing their tone is, and you start asking yourself, what have they actually done to back this up? That question will save you from more pain than any speech ever could. Actions can't be faked for long. Eventually, the mask slips. The key is to give people the space to show you who they are instead of rushing to believe who they say they are. If someone claims they're dependable, watch how they handle small commitments. If they can't keep their word on little things, they won't keep it on big things. If someone says they respect you, notice how they act when you say no to them. If respect disappears the moment you set a boundary, it was never real in the first place. Actions have a way of revealing the truth that words can't hide forever. And once you learn to focus on what people do instead of what they say, you stop falling for charm and start recognizing character. Trusting actions over words also means holding yourself accountable to the same standard. If you want to be respected, let your actions match your promises. Don't be the person who speaks beautifully but delivers nothing. Consistency builds credibility, and credibility is a shield against manipulation. When you live in a way where your actions and words align, manipulators can't twist your intentions because your life speaks for itself. You also begin to attract people who live the same way, people whose word means something because their actions have proven it. And when your circle is made of people like that, manipulation finds no home. Of course, when you stop trusting words alone, manipulators will notice. They'll get frustrated when their rehearsed speeches no longer sway you. They may accuse you of being suspicious or hard to trust. But that's only because their usual tactics aren't working. Stand firm. Let them prove themselves through consistent action over time, not just a one-time gesture designed to win you back. True change is visible, steady, and lived, not just spoken about when they're trying to regain control. And if their actions never match their words, that's your answer. You don't need to argue or explain. You just quietly adjust your distance. When you trust actions, not words, you free yourself from illusions. You stop living on promises and start living on proof. Manipulators can't sell you on false hope anymore because you've trained your eyes to see beyond the surface. You start to understand that anyone can say, I love you, I'm sorry, or I'll change, but only the ones who truly mean it will show you day after day through how they treat you. And when you make this shift, you become unbreakable. Because no matter what story they tell, you already know the truth. The truth is always in what they do, not in what they say. Number 6, stop seeking validation from anyone. The moment you stop seeking validation from others, you take back one of the most powerful forms of control manipulators have over you. Validation is a human desire. We all want to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. But when that desire turns into dependence, it becomes a chain around your neck that someone else can tighten or loosen at will. Manipulators know this. They know that if your confidence rises and falls based on their approval, they can control your mood, your decisions, and even your identity. One compliment can make you feel on top of the world, and one criticism can crush you. When you cut that cord, when you no longer need them to approve of you, their grip shatters. You become self-sustaining. You start feeding on your own belief instead of begging for scraps of it from others. I am commending to you right now. Take 30 seconds to indulge in your own belief. Validation seeking often hides in subtle behaviors. It's not always obvious. It's the text you send just to see if they'll respond. It's the outfit you wear just to hear someone say you look good. It's the way you adjust your opinions in a conversation so people will like you more. Manipulators prey on this. They'll give you validation in doses, making you feel like you have to earn it. They'll praise you when you comply and withhold it when you resist, training you like a puppet. But when you decide that your worth is not up for debate, you break the cycle. You stop living like a performer waiting for applause and start living like the director of your own life. The silence of their withheld approval no longer scares you. It frees you. Building this kind of self-trust doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small acts of choosing yourself even when no one else cheers. It's wearing what you like, even if it's not trendy. It's making a decision based on your values, even if it's unpopular. It's standing by your boundaries, even when it costs you someone's temporary favor. Every time you do this, you strengthen your inner approval system. You stop outsourcing your self-worth to people who may not have your best interest at heart. And over time, you realize that the validation you were chasing was never as valuable as the self-respect you've built. The truth is, seeking validation from others makes you easy to manipulate because it means you're playing by their rules. They decide the game, the score, and whether you win or lose. When you remove yourself from that game, they lose the scoreboard. They can no longer push your buttons by giving or withholding praise. You become unpredictable to them, and unpredictability is dangerous to anyone trying to control you. They'll test you, trying to see if you really stop caring about their opinion, but if you stay consistent, they'll eventually see they have no leverage left. The moment their opinion loses power over you, their manipulation collapses. Of course, this doesn't mean you stop listening to feedback or close yourself off to growth. The difference is that you filter feedback through your own judgment instead of taking it as